She was the most unlikable candidate in the history of presidents, and that's saying a lot.
But Biden says the same thing.
He's number 2. When Biden says something, does anyone be like, oh?
Right.
No, they used to go, oh, what'd he say?
Yeah. What is happening in America? You can feel it. Something we've worked for and dreamed of for a long time. Donald Trump fell asleep at his own trial. And when he woke up, he made his own kind of history. The first person to run for president with 34.
Hillary Clinton is pacing like a volcano ready to erupt, while Tyrus casually drops shocking revelations as if he's just reading off a shopping list. Secrets. They're messier than a kid's sneakers after a mud run. The blowback. Let's just say her reaction could power an entire town, leaving you wondering, what on earth could be so outrageous that it pushed her this far? Buckle up, because this breakdown makes political drama look tame compared to a soap opera.
Tyrus, and this goes back to 2016, people were reluctant to talk to pollsters and say, I like Donald Trump. And now, fast forward 8 years later, essentially they're saying, if you like him, you're in a cult. Do you really want to be in a cult?
If the cult that Hillary doesn't like, yes.
Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss this. Hillary Clinton was supposed to be enjoying her life after politics, floating through talk shows, delivering polished lines of wisdom, and soaking up applause like she was taking a Broadway bow. But then Tyrus shows up, charging into the spotlight like a bull in a china shop, casually spilling secrets that sound like they were pulled straight out of Area 51's archives.
Is it a red hat? I'll get one. Like, it's ridiculous. When the losing side, or someone, she's just a very unlikable person and will say anything to get this attention. But here's the thing, it's changed. America has changed. We no longer listen to that stuff. Now when they say it, we go, that's why I didn't vote.
All of a sudden, the woman who weathered decades of Washington scandals is supposedly blowing up like someone yanked the plug on her teleprompter mid-sentence. And let's be real, if anybody was going to make Hillary lose her composure, it wasn't a senator, it wasn't a foreign adversary, and it definitely wasn't a panel of reporters lobbing easy questions. No, it had to be Tyrus, a guy who looks like he was designed in a WWE lab and later rebranded as a television truth bomb. He doesn't just wade into controversy, he dives headfirst into it.
Clinton is one of the most disgusting human beings on the planet.
Very much so.
Always has been, always will be, and will be inserting clips on her response to Benghazi several times throughout the interview. I want to show who she is.
She's worse than her husband.
A lot of people say that this was triggered by a YouTube video. This is her statement. I condemn in the strongest terms the attack on our mission in Benghazi today. The United States deplores any intentional effort to denigrate the religious beliefs of others. Our commitment to religious tolerance goes back to the very beginning.
Picture it. The world is going about its business, politics dragging along in its usual swampy routine, and then Tyrus suddenly decides today's the day he's going to uncover the dirt. Not the polished kind of secrets politicians are ready to spin. No. These are the kind of grimy revelations that make spotless reputations reek like gym socks after a 4th of July cookout.
She talks, you kind of get why Bill did what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, it's kind of like, again, I don't condone, cheating, but
No.
That's your morning?
Yeah.
You gotta kiss that before you go to bed at night, and then you gotta sleep with one eye open?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when those secrets surface, Hillary's reaction is anything but subtle. This isn't some cold stare or a measured comeback. We're talking full-on fireworks. The kind of outburst that makes you question if someone replaced her latte with rocket fuel. Tyrus has always had that talent. He doesn't just point things out, he blows them wide open.
Oh, your buddy Epstein didn't off himself, and she has all this extra footage cut up in the closet? Like, I bet Bill has not had a good night's sleep for years. I mean, that's why he aged so bad. A lot of people don't know this. Bill Clinton is only 37 years old.
He handles scandals like they're wrestling storylines, cranking up the drama, pounding his chest with bravado, and adding just enough showmanship to keep viewers locked in. So when he takes aim at Hillary, it's not just about exposing some shadowy corner of her past. It's about building a spectacle so massive it makes cable news look like a kid's puppet show. And Hillary, she can't stomach that. Because if there's one thing she spent her career obsessing over, it's the narrative, the polished speeches, the tightly framed interviews, the endless effort to appear 5 chess moves ahead. Tyrus, though, lives for stirring the pot. His approach isn't carefully dismantling a political dynasty. It's tossing everything out there and watching the chaos unfold. But once those messy secrets started spilling, Hillary reacted like someone flipped her internal "do not disturb" setting straight to nuclear meltdown. Picture her shouting, pacing, flailing her arms as if she were both the director and the star of her own political soap opera.
She's just evil. There's nothing like her.
Why would she even tweet that? Like, don't you have
I think she just sits
No,
around
that's the
in
whole
her
point.
evil lair. Whenever she runs out of Eye of Newt and small children to boil, she then goes to X and just says whatever the most evilest thing. I think if the devil himself showed up, like, you'll never hear her being possessed by a demon. You know what I'm saying? The demon will walk in and the demon will be calling Dr. Phil, "You don't believe the that I just saw, bro." Like,
So what exactly did Tyrus reveal? Let's just say it wasn't bedtime stories. His bombshells weren't harmless bits of gossip you chuckle about over brunch. They were the kind of revelations that drag old scandals out of the grave, dust them off, and shove them under the harshest spotlight possible. Suddenly, the ghosts of past controversies weren't faint whispers. They were marching front and center like a clumsy parade. And the thing about Hillary is, she's weathered enough scandals to fill a Netflix anthology. That's the kind of unpredictability her inner circle fears most. Because you can't script a counterattack when the other guy refuses to follow the script. Her blow-up becomes the headline. Not the secrets themselves, not the specifics, but the spectacle of her reaction. At that point, it's less about whether the revelations are true and more about how furiously Hillary is trying to slam the door on them.
the catfish. Well, they wanted us to believe it was a big naughty redhead that was going around, was going to ruin the world and do all kinds of bad things to us. Turns out, the catfish was, hey, we don't boo here, but for this one time, you may boo.
And nothing shouts, "I'm shaken," louder than a public meltdown on full display. Naturally, the internet devours it like the season finale of a reality show. Memes pop up overnight. One camp claims Hillary's reaction proves she's guilty of everything imaginable, from political blunders to maybe even hiding Jimmy Hoffa. The other camp argues Tyrus is just a showman slinging mud for attention. But while everyone's yelling past each other, the real winner is the spectacle itself. Because in 2025, political blow-ups aren't just news, they're entertainment. That's the twisted beauty of the chaos. Hillary has been branded with every insult, dragged through endless investigations, and still managed to stand on stage grinning like she's untouchable. And yet, one larger-than-life pundit with a flair for disorder shows up, and suddenly she's blowing up like a pressure cooker. That alone says everything about the psychological chess match at play.
Look, if the pantsuit fits, Hillary Clinton, you owe Russia an apology. And there should be an apology tour for lying to the American people and ruining 2 years of Trump's presidency and affecting elections with Russiagate, impeachment, and fake dossiers. Oh yeah, let's not forget the P-test.
Because this isn't really about facts, it's about perception. And in politics, perception is reality. When Hillary blows up, it fuels the idea that maybe, just maybe, those revelations struck a nerve. Once people think you're rattled, you've already lost half the fight. Of course, Tyrus understands this game perfectly. He doesn't need to win debates with citations and spreadsheets. All he needs is a well-timed revelation, a smirk, and the certainty that Hillary will handle the rest by overreacting. It's the oldest play in the book. Poke the bear and let the bear write the headlines. And judging by the coverage, that tactic worked better than he could have hoped. By now, you'd expect Hillary to have mastered the art of brushing off controversy, shrug it away, dismiss it as nonsense, and move forward. But this eruption proves that even the most seasoned figures can stumble. And the cherry on top, watching her scramble afterward, spinning, reframing, and trying to act as if she was never shaken in the first place. By then, though, the damage is sealed. The internet already declared it the meltdown of the year, and Tyrus had already moved on to his next spectacle.
I want you to remember what Donald Trump said about Hillary Clinton back in the 2016 debate.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
It's like, yeah, because you'd be going to jail later.
The eruption wasn't just a reaction, it was a full-on performance. The kind of spectacle that makes you wonder if Hillary has secretly been rehearsing in front of a mirror for years. She didn't simply disagree, she detonated. Arms flailing, voice rising, unleashing the pent-up irritation she'd been storing until Tyrus finally pressed the launch button. It was like watching a Shakespearean tragedy rewritten as a WWE promo, complete with a soundtrack only she could hear playing in her head. The truth is, Hillary doesn't do subtle. She tries, plastering on the politician's smile, leaning into the mic, delivering lines like she's starring in a courtroom drama. But the second someone like Tyrus drops bombshells, all that polish melts away faster than ice cream on a July sidewalk. Watching her blow up wasn't really about what he revealed. It was about proving that the Clinton mystique, that aura of being untouchable, was always just one dirty secret away from shattering. And then came the internet. Oh, the internet had a field day. Memes spread even faster than Hillary's temper.
Since they can't air the truth, they control the storyline, and they've lost control of it. From bloodbath to democracy. Last night, Hillary tried framing the election like this. Both guys are old, but you can't vote for the one we indicted.
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the two choices?
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices. One is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people. And one is old and has been charged with 91.
1 minute she was firing off fierce rebuttals. The next she was plastered across social media as a volcano, a mushroom cloud, or a malfunctioning robot sparking on a green screen. Twitter joked about Mount Hillary. TikTok churned out remixes that spliced her meltdown with Tyrus grinning like he'd just swallowed a bald eagle. Even people who usually skip politics were suddenly hooked. Politics may bore you, but watching one of the most powerful figures of our time unravel live is irresistibly watchable. Hashtags went global. Newscasters tried to report it with solemn faces, though you could almost hear them holding back a chuckle, and some urged her to crack a joke to defuse things. The more people attempted damage control, the worse it looked. Each effort to downplay her outburst only confirmed that Tyrus had hit a raw nerve. It was like trying to douse a grease fire with gasoline. The fallout reached absurd levels. Late-night hosts had material for weeks. Pundits spun elaborate theories about what Tyrus actually knew, as if he'd uncovered secret chapters of the Clinton playbook, and conspiracy folks tied it to everything from Wall Street donors to interdimensional lizard people.
He's back like a sore on a porn star's lip.
Ew.
Complaining on X about Trump cleaning up D.C., she says, quote, on one hand, Republican officials call themselves war fighters. On the other, they become whiny crybabies at the thought of setting foot in D.C.'s streets and New York City subways that literal school children navigate every day without incident. Real macho stuff. Then she got off social media and returned to moving a dead body to a park.
Meanwhile, Hillary's defenders framed her outburst as righteous fury, the kind you unleash when you've had enough of clowns taking cheap shots. But let's be real. Anger that loud rarely comes across as strength. It looks more like insecurity wearing a costume. The irony is that Hillary's entire political legacy was built on outlasting chaos. Scandal after scandal, she endured, through investigations, accusations, and smear campaigns. She always managed to stand tall, dust herself off, and keep moving forward like the Terminator in a pantsuit. But now, a TV personality with a flair for theatrics was the one to unravel her. The contrast was so stark, so absurd, that even her most devoted allies had to admit this wasn't her finest moment. And Tyrus? He didn't have to lift another finger. The media churned out the coverage. The internet supplied the popcorn. The real sting is that Hillary knows this game better than anyone. She's played it longer than most of us have been alive. Which means she knew, the instant she let herself explode, that she'd lost. Because in politics, it's never really about truth. It's about optics. And optics don't care whether Tyrus exaggerated, speculated, or flat out improvised. Optics only care that Hillary looked rattled. And for someone who spent a lifetime projecting unshakable control, that's a fatal misstep.
It's not just ironic, it's not just rich, it's actually pretty sad.
It's what happened to decorum?
Gone,
what happened to being the so-called leader in the room? He's being indicted, great, but let's not forget, you lost your election because of your, quote, crookedness. So let's not forget that. So yeah, she didn't get charges put on her, which probably should have, but she lost the election because of her underhand dealings. So
Now let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. This wasn't just a clash between a politician and a pundit. It was a symbol of how politics has completely fused with entertainment. Theatrics are the currency, outrage is the marketplace, and Hillary's meltdown was like watching the Dow Jones nosedive in real time. Everyone was glued to it, not because they were craving policy debates, but because they wanted spectacle. And spectacle is exactly what Hillary delivered in spades. There's something almost poetic about it. She spent decades projecting strength, control, inevitability, trying to be the iron figure who could withstand any scandal, who couldn't be broken. And then there was the global reaction. World leaders who usually shrug at American scandals reportedly got a laugh, picturing them watching the clips in their offices, shaking their heads and muttering, "Only in America could this pass for political discourse." Meanwhile, the American public was too busy laughing, sharing, and arguing over which meme best captured Hillary's eruption to even care about the actual content. The funniest part? The timing. Hillary wasn't campaigning, wasn't pushing policy, wasn't even trying to dominate headlines. She was just existing.
So happy about it. That was an opportunity for her. They're always talking about closing the division. That would have been an opportunity for her to be gracious and be supposedly the leader. But again, she just can't stay away from herself.
Maturity doesn't always come with age.
No, it really doesn't. And it's sad in this currently with the given climate where everybody's after each other's throat. Here's a chance for a leader to show a little bit of class necessary. You don't have to like President Trump. You could think he was guilty of sin or innocent of sin, but when you're put in that position, there was an opportunity for her to show what leaders.
And then, boom, Tyrus turns her into headline fodder, and suddenly her face is everywhere again. It's as if the political gods decided she wasn't allowed to fade quietly, not when her reactions still provide endless content. And honestly, that might be the cruelest twist of all. Hillary wanted to be remembered as a trailblazer, a pioneer, a heavyweight who shaped history. Instead, she's going viral for losing her composure because a pundit dropped dirty secrets with the flair of a carnival barker. It's Shakespearean irony with a side of internet trolling. The more you think about it, the more absurd and funny it becomes. Because Hillary's eruption isn't just about her. It's a snapshot of the ridiculous state of modern politics. In fact, it revealed more about the circus of American politics than any think tank report ever could. But the real question isn't whether she can recover. It's whether she even wants to. Because after a spectacle like this, you don't just shove the genie back in the bottle. You either ride the chaos or get swallowed by it. And if history proves anything, it's that Hillary Clinton doesn't go down quietly.